Ms. Blue here. So people hear me talk and do a lot of coaching and mentoring and wellness checks on people. And they're like, well, who are you? Like, you have so much knowledge on this. And I can do that all the way around quite a few times, right? My mother was a lifelong learner. And with that, by me being her only child and I was raised by my mother, well, guess what? I was a learner right with her. So knowledge and education doesn't always come from schooling, though. I did go to school, did graduate. Thank you. Because I feel like education is important. I will not negate that at all. But some people are better with books. Some people are hands-on. Some people are better at hearing things. There's different types of learners out here in this world. And more power to all of you, including me here. But I have been working, and I've been working really hard at building people up for a very long time. And someone was like, well, what was your first traumatic experience? And I was like, I don't know. 'Cause people see different things as being traumatic. And I won't say that, oh, my life was just great. No one's is, right? But I will explain to you all where my thoughts on therapy came. Okay. So growing up, I would hear, oh, this person needs to go to therapy, but no one ever really broke down what is therapy? What is counseling? I'm not going to take a moment here to explain that. I won't. Because therapy can happen in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it could be just talking to someone that you trust and isn't just going to look at you for what they know you to. You're talking to them, one, to get it off your spirit, but also to get insight and advice, okay? But when I was younger, I can't even tell you how old I was. I won't even attempt to lie. Don't give me the line, y'all. I witnessed the murder. Okay. Long story short, I witnessed the murder. And my mother knew I needed to go to counseling or therapy, whatever word, phrase, boom, put it right there. It's fine. I'm okay with it. But she also knew I was reluctant to it because I was born in 86, y'all. Might not look like it, but I was born in 86. So there were a lot of things that were being said about therapy. And I was like, well, I'm not crazy. Mistake number one, you don't have to be crazy to go to therapy. Everybody needs it, okay? All right, so I was kind of reluctant to it. The police department totally wanted me to do therapy, but I live in Detroit, y'all. So trying to get services for certain things can be a bit of a hassle. Even when the police department and there's lots of big heads saying, hey, this kid witnessed something, boom, bada bang. So my mother was big on well, you like art. Guess what? We're going to draw it out. You like to talk. We're going to talk it out. We went through my mother and I alone, while we were waiting to get into therapy and to see if I was going to have to go to trial. Not that it was me, but as a witness to the situation. My mother had me go through so many different things. She took me through the different stages of it, confirming what I actually saw, the writing it out, the drawing it out, that whole thing. So by the time I finally got to the therapy, I didn't value the importance of it because I felt I had already done it. Now, did I learn anything with the therapist? I can say that I learned at the time, because I was young. I was really young. That talking helps. I also learned some things about the situation that occurred, and I was like, oh, okay. So I will say that was my first hands-on situation with therapy, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be the traditional type. Okay. Over the years, there's been a lot of people that's been in my life, my mom's life, my kids' life, people I've been around, and I've always felt like, oh, well, let's talk it out. How do you see it? Where are you feeling this stress? And it's just always, everybody's been like, I don't want to go to therapy, or I don't want to do any type of therapy. But when my mother died in 2019, I felt like my world was crumbling so fast. And being a mother too, I was like, oh, my world cannot crumble here, because if it does, where is that going to leave my kids? That was just my mindset, my thought pattern at the time. I was like, oh my God. So the hospital gave me options of places that I could go for grief counseling and places that my kids could go. But guess what? I'm like a regular working American. I have a work schedule and the kids have a school schedule. And not that I don't think therapy is important enough to pull them from school, but I don't want them to miss their learning experiences either, or the other knowledge they might be getting from school. And my work schedule just definitely didn't work with the time frame of the therapy places they suggested. I found something else randomly, and I'm so happy that I found it. It actually wasn't for kids. I found that out. I found that out when I arrived, but my children were old enough to be able to be in it. And it was great because I was able to allow myself to be vulnerable, not just to myself, to strangers, but for me, more importantly, my kids. I felt like allowing my kids to see that I cried and I had like actual feelings towards my mother not being here. I felt like that allowed a better connection. So anybody who's with me during my mentor and stuff, y'all hear me say all the time, like, we got to talk to our kids. Like, us as women, we're always like, oh, I'm strong. I got it. But what is that also saying to your kid? Are you telling your kid that they can't be sad? Are you telling them that they can't be hurt? And that was my fear that I did not want for my children. With going to that and doing some other things, I got some friends together. I won't even say I got some friends together. Myself and my two partners, we started a grief group. It's a nonprofit organization, and I'm so happy about it because for me, my goal in our grief group, our grief organization, is to break that stigma of therapy, of people being scared of saying I need therapy or wanting to go to therapy, because it's important. We hurt for a lot of things. We grieve for a lot of things. Yes, we grieve because our mother died. We grieve because our aunt died. We grieve because our uncle died. We grieve because our grandmother died. We grieve because our dogs or our pets die. All of these things are things like we know is grieving, but what about when we move? What if you've been in that house forever? Yeah, you're going to grieve that. There's so many things that you can grieve, and it's okay. And the goal is to have someone to talk to. When our grief organization does things, we're teaching children, because we are doing things in schools. I'm excited for that. We're teaching kids that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be hurt. And it's not just one straight way to grieve. It's not. Today you may be fine. In this moment you might be fine. But in 30 minutes you might be in a whole crying fit and you're like, oh my God. It's okay. You have to give yourself the space to feel those things and be able to move forward. I just wanted to take a moment to reintroduce myself, Miss Blue. I'm still here. I still blog. I still mentor. I still tutor. I'm still here for you. I'm still in the community. I'm still telling y'all the fun places to hang out with the grief group. We're checking out new places also. But I just wanted to take a moment to say, hey, Miss Blue is still here. I got a lot on my plate. I'm okay with that. But I want you to know it's okay to grieve.